Hello friends, welcome to our channel. In our previous session, we have discussed about the structural pattern, and in this session, we are going to discuss about the behavioral pattern. What is this behavioral pattern, and for what purpose we are going to use this behavioral pattern? These decision patterns are specifically concerned with the communication between the objects. Now, let's understand this principle with a simple example. ATC. Consider this ATC. ATC means it's an air traffic controller. So, like in an airport, this air traffic controller has been implemented. See, the purpose of this air traffic controller is it has to monitor the different flights arriving at the airport, and it has to allow the specific flight on the runway depending upon the some protocol. So, let's consider there are two flights coming to the airport, flight 1 and flight 2. Now, as these flights are coming, it is not like these flights should directly rush away to the runway. They has to communicate, these two flights has to communicate to air traffic controller that they are arriving to the airport. Then air traffic controller, based on some protocol, it has to monitor it, and it has to allow a single flight to run on the runway, so that other flight has to wait for its turn. For example, let's consider this air traffic controller has allowed flight 1 run on the runway. Then it has to inform flight 1 that it can run. And the same way, air traffic controller has to inform flight 2 that it should wait for some time for its turn. And once the flight 1 arrived at the destination, then air traffic controller is going to inform flight 2 that it can run on the runway. So like this way, the communication is happening between the flight 1 and the flight 2. We must understand here, all these are all objects. Air traffic controller is also an object. Flight 1 is also an object. Flight 2 is also an object. So now the communication is happening between all these objects in a certain way. It is not like the communication is happening directly between the flight 1 and flight 2. Like flight 1 can't inform flight 2 directly that I will run, please wait. It is not going to happen. But flight 1 has to inform to the air traffic controller, so that air traffic controller will inform the flights accordingly. So here important catch is there is a communication happen between the objects, but it is happening in a certain way. It is not like in a random way it is happening. There are many patterns coming under behavioral pattern, and the communication is happening in a different way in each of the objects. It is not like this is the only kind of communication happening between the objects. There are many different kinds of communication happen between the objects. But this is one example to understand how the communication happens between the objects. So this is all about behavioral pattern. It is about communication between the objects. And in our next session, we are going to discuss about our first creational pattern, which is factory pattern.